Tonight, the agonizing wait as officials try to identify who survived that devastating fire in the Swiss Alps. The deadly blaze, apparently ignited by sparklers in champagne bottles as partiers rang in the new year. The terrifying video as people tried to escape. Donald Trump says he's in perfect health despite intensifying questions.
We should really have the president's physician just come out, answer some questions.
What doctors make of the U.S. president's explanation for these deep bruises and swollen ankles. Ontario forces public servants back to the office.
This was a mandate that is unnecessary. It's punitive to workers.
But is there enough space?
From CBC News, this is The National with Erica Johnson.
Thank you for joining us. Authorities in Switzerland say they have zeroed in on the likely cause of the New Year's Eve fire that has claimed at least 40 lives and left dozens of survivors with severe burns. A tragedy that has scarred the small resort town in the Swiss Alps, where people have arrived to mourn the loss. Survivors, friends, parents searching for their missing children. Officials now pointing to a single celebratory moment that likely led to so much death. Caroline Bargout shows us what happened and the harrowing, fatal moments that followed.
The social media videos are chilling. The ceiling of La Constellation bar on fire, a man failing to put it out. Young people around him dancing and filming with their phones, seemingly oblivious to the danger. Not for long. This video showing New Year's partiers desperately trying to escape what quickly became a death trap. The fire claiming at least 40 lives. The fire began in the bar's basement. Witnesses described cramming into one narrow staircase to escape.
J'ai senti une boule de feu.
I felt a ball of fire pass over my head. I closed my eyes, says 19-year-old Ferdinand de Beau-Diaz. When I opened them again, I couldn't breathe. Swiss officials now believe they know the cause. Everything suggests that the fire started from the burning candles or sparklers attached to the champagne bottles, which were then held too close to the ceiling, says Chief Prosecutor Beatrice Pilou. This image appearing to show the moment it happened, the flames reaching foam in the ceiling. The sparklers were a common occurrence at the bar, seen here in a promotional video. The 119 injured overwhelmed local hospitals, around 50 with severe burns. Parents still search for their missing.
Ça fait 30 heures que mon fils a disparu.
It's been 30 hours since my son disappeared, says Laetitia Brodar. She is desperate to believe her 16-year-old son Arthur is still alive, perhaps taken to a hospital outside of Switzerland.
Je veux que la photo de mon enfant.
I want the photo of my child to be everywhere, so that just in case someone recognizes him, they could call me, contact me, she says. Investigators say they've turned to dozens of experts, including police, doctors, and dentists, to help identify the dead.
Fire investigators are focused on a number of things, including whether a layer of ceiling was compliant with safety requirements. Prosecutors say they're also looking at whether anyone should be held criminally responsible for negligence. Caroline Bargout, CBC News, London.
Radio Canada's Tamara Altaresco is in Cron, Montana, Switzerland, at the scene of the devastating fire, now a memorial for the victims.
We are standing in front of what used to be Le Bar La Constellation. We are in the middle, in the heart of the village of Cron, Montana, in the Swiss Alps, and people have been coming here all day to light candles, to drop flowers, and to pray. This is a very small village, and most of the people who come here, even though it's very touristic here, are locals who are still awaiting to hear from friends, from loved ones who have not been reached since the night of the fire. This is a very painful moment, and what strikes is how young these people are. The bar was full that night. They were all celebrating New Year's. We know some are in hospital. They've been badly burned. We don't know in what city, because people have been brought to different hospitals, not only here in Switzerland, but the number of people that are injured is so massive that they had to transport them in other countries such as Italy, France, and Germany. What we have been able to see is a crisis center that was set up right down the street from here, and where families are receiving psychological help. The foreign minister of Italy was here because a lot of the victims would be Italian. So these are very painful hours for the families who still await to know where their loved ones are, if they have survived, and if they're still alive, in what conditions. This is Tamara Alterescu, Radio-Canada, in Crans-Montana in Switzerland.
Iranian official sources and human rights groups now say at least 10 people have been killed in the unrest sweeping the country. And as Ithel Musa shows us, now there's a new threat in the mix from the U.S. president.
The protests in Iran have grown, the crackdown more deadly. The demonstration started 6 days ago with shopkeepers in the capital protesting the soaring cost of living. But the unrest has now spread well beyond Tehran and has become more explicitly anti-regime.
Economic mismanagement, corruption, water and electricity crisis is putting a huge amount of stress on population.
Here in the southern part of the country, protesters attack a government building. In the west, cars are overturned and fires set outside a police station. Several people have been killed, and U.S. President Donald Trump is threatening to intervene, writing, "If Iran shoots and violently kills peaceful protesters, which is their custom, the United States of America will come to their rescue. We are locked and loaded and ready to go." A senior government official in Iran wasted no time responding, "The American people should know Trump started this adventurism. They should be mindful of their soldiers' safety." This comes after years of sanctions and Israel's short war with Iran in June, when the U.S. carried out strikes against its nuclear sites on Trump's orders. But the threats of escalation may be more about diplomatic pressure, this expert suggesting talks between Washington and Tehran continue in the background.
They were even taking place when the U.S. and Israel were bombing Iran. If the Iranian regime turns around and engages in heavy-handed, reaction to the protests and people start getting killed, it makes it very difficult for the president.
Iran's civilian government earlier signaled it was willing to negotiate with protesters, but the unrest has spiraled since, with fears now it could get worse. Ithel Musa, CBC News, Toronto.
With a massive U.S. military buildup on his doorstep, Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro says he's willing to negotiate on Washington's key demands.
Un acuerdo de combate contra el narcotráfico.
If they want to speak seriously about an agreement to battle drug trafficking, we are ready to do that, Maduro said during an interview. If they want Venezuela's oil, Venezuela is ready to accept U.S. investments. It's a shift in tone after months of escalating U.S. military pressure. An 18-year-old is in custody tonight after the FBI says it foiled a terror attack in North Carolina on New Year's Eve.
He was preparing for jihad, and innocent people were going to die. And we're very, very fortunate they did not.
Investigators said he had planned to target a grocery store and a fast food restaurant using knives and hammers. They allege the plan was directly inspired by ISIS. Investigators say weapons and notes detailing the year-long plot were found in the suspect's home after he revealed his plans to undercover agents. President Donald Trump is again defending his health amid growing questions about his age and fitness. But as Karen Pauls tells us, Trump's explanation for months-long bruises on his hands are raising even more concerns.
After celebrating New Year's in West Palm Beach, U.S. President Donald Trump is addressing growing concerns about his health and fitness, including his bruised hands and swollen ankles. In an interview with the Wall Street Journal, Trump suggests his bruises are as a result of taking a higher than recommended dose of aspirin every day. They say aspirin is good for thinning out the blood, and I don't want thick blood pouring through my heart, he says. I want nice, thin blood pouring through my heart.
It doesn't make any sense to me why he would be taking 325 milligrams unless there is a medical history that we don't know anything about.
Trump also downplayed his bleeding hand at the 2024 Republican National Convention, saying now Attorney General Pam Bondi nicked him with her ring while giving him a high five, adding he uses makeup to conceal the bruising. On images of him struggling to stay awake at events, like this cabinet meeting in December, Trump says photographers caught him blinking.
You people are crazy. I'll let you know when there's something wrong. There will be someday. That's going to happen to all of us. But right now, I think I'm sharper than I was 25 years ago.
Trump's main exercise, golf. His diet, often full of salty and fatty food, but he says he has good genetics.
You know, this is all being dripped out, you know, over the course of very weeks. We should really have the president's physician just come out, answer some questions, and put this issue to rest.
Trump will turn 80 this year, the oldest president to be inaugurated in U.S. history. He has repeatedly attacked former President Joe Biden's health and mental capacity.
We know he wasn't in the greatest of shape.
Trump took to social media again on Friday, saying he's in perfect health, a sentiment echoed by his doctor, who told the Wall Street Journal Trump is perfectly suited to execute his duties as commander-in-chief. Karen Pauls, CBC News, Washington.
At least 2 people are dead after a 6.5 magnitude earthquake hit southern and central Mexico. Local officials say among those killed is a 67-year-old woman whose home collapsed. Roads and buildings, including a hospital, were damaged in the quake. In the country's capital, the president said the ground was shaking when she paused her first press conference of the year. CBC News is learning more tonight about dozens of high-end motorcycles belonging to Canadian fugitive Ryan Wedding, seized by Mexican authorities. As Thomas Dagla tells us, the vehicles, worth millions, are the latest clue in the alleged drug smuggling empire.
Valentino Rossi goes into the lead.
From the top tier of blazing fast road racing to a dark warehouse in Mexico. Motorcycles packed in rows, said to be worth $40 million US. All seized from Canadian fugitive Ryan Wedding, and all seemingly purchased as a way to launder his drug money.
All in all, just an absolutely amazing collection of machines that Wedding has somehow been able to amass from we don't know where.
Rossi goes through as they dip down into a Rabiata.
The FBI now confirming some were used in professional racing. All of them discovered by Mexican authorities amid raids targeting Wedding, the alleged leader of a violent cocaine smuggling empire.
A few of those bikes belong to Valentino Rossi, who's kind of MotoGP's equivalent of Wayne Gretzky.
U.S. authorities allege Wedding stashes his vast wealth in assets like this ultra-rare Mercedes now in their possession. Mexico even seized paintings purportedly belonging to Wedding and 2 Canadian snowboarding medals.
Ryan Wedding from Coquitlam, British Columbia.
Both apparently won before Wedding reached the 2002 Olympic Games and before he earned the nickname El Jefe, the boss.
Wedding operates through a complex web of individuals and companies to launder his drug proceeds, using everything from front businesses to luxury cars to cryptocurrency.
Italian motorcycle dealer Gianluca Tiepolo is accused of serving as one of Wedding's chief money launderers. He tells us it's all a misunderstanding.
It's a total mistake, but in this moment we don't talk because the law enforcement is still doing investigation.
Can I just clarify one thing? Those motorbikes that were seized in Mexico, did you sell those?
As I said, you can talk with me after the investigation is ended.
As for Wedding, he's still on the run, thought to be hiding in Mexico. Somewhere. Thomas Dagg, CBC News, Toronto.
Tens of thousands of Ontario public workers are set to return to the office full-time next week after years of remote or hybrid work. It's a move the province says will boost productivity and help local businesses. But as Michelle Song shows us, the union isn't convinced.
Wayne Cowley is banking on more customers grabbing a beer after work.
Cheers, buddy.
Starting Monday, tens of thousands of Ontario public servants are expected to be back in office full-time.
When everyone's moving, you're spending money. When you're sitting at home doing the work in front of the computer, yeah, you're going by your fridge. If you don't have to go out, you don't go out.
His downtown Toronto bar was shut down for 9 months during the pandemic. Patrons were slow to return, with many still working from home, something Ontario says it wants to tackle.
What we started to see in the fall was private sector businesses in the downtown core calling their workers back, and now the government is following suit. This will hopefully bring even more workers back and shore up some of those businesses downtown.
It will be really, really busy. The union, representing half of Ontario public sector employees, is pushing back.
This was a mandate that is unnecessary, it's punitive to workers, and it will also decrease productivity.
Since the summer, the union says more than 10,000 members have applied for alternate work arrangements, and some say there isn't even enough office space.
We're talking about spaces that have been outsourced or sold off. We've seen pictures of offices where there's water damage, rodent infestations.
The province says it's reviewed its offices and found majority to have enough space, but the LCBO delayed bringing workers back full time as they try to create more room.
How do you mentor someone over a phone?
The Premier has been resolute that this move will benefit Ontarians.
Everyone's more productive when they're at work.
Alberta's public service is also returning to office full-time next month, and the Prime Minister says an in-person work plan is coming soon for federal workers. Michelle Song, CBC News, Toronto.
Across the country, Canadians are paying more to ride transit, despite complaints about spotty service. And as Jessica Chung shows us, the fare hikes are raising fresh concerns about access and affordability.
For these commuters, taking transit is a day-to-day expense that continues to go up.
Yeah, things were a lot cheaper back in the day, and it can really add up over time throughout, a 5-day week for a lot of people.
Within the past year, Calgary hiked its fares 20 cents to $4 per ride. Victoria jumped 50 cents, now $3. And Ottawa, one of the most expensive transit fares in the country, just approved a 10-cent increase to $4.10. Transit advocates say fare hikes is not a way to build ridership.
There's a mental barrier with this idea of paying $4 to get on a bus or get on the train. It's not one of those things that's going to invite them to take transit or to try it out.
The fares are being hiked as commuters in some cities are dealing with overcrowding, infrequent and unreliable service.
Which further decreases the revenue stream, which makes fares go up again, which creates this cycle where we are moving really in a very negative way.
Across the country, fares cover an average of 59% of costs, with other sources like government funding making up the rest.
There are so many different groups yelling at elected officials to do their thing, whether it's reduce queues in the ER or keep taxes low, or fund schools. And at the end of the day, transit riders aren't that big, loud voice there yet.
Advocates have been pushing to reframe public transit as an essential service like healthcare or law enforcement.
All these things that make up part of society and make it generally better for the everyday citizen.
I mean, it's a public service. Everyone has the right to get to where they need to go in this city for their life.
At a time when density is rising, pressure on public transit is only likely to keep growing. Jessica Chung, CBC News, Vancouver.
With Canada facing a shortage of doctors, some medical schools are exploring new ways of training.
The title of the course is Equity in the Future of Healthcare.
Why they're focusing on cultures and communities. Next. Plus, tensions with the U.S. have put a wrinkle in some Snowbirds' winter plans.
We've heard stories about people being identified as Canadian and their cars being targeted.
How they're weathering the current political climate. And later, one of our most popular moments of 2025, and you can see why.
Within a split second, I just see a great white shark go through my screen.
The thrilling encounter in the waters off Halifax. We're back in 2. Canadian basketball star Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is Sports Illustrated's 2025 Sports Person of the Year. The 27-year-old from Hamilton, Ontario, will be featured on the magazine's cover in this month's issue. The reigning NBA MVP is coming off a stellar year, leading the Oklahoma City Thunder to a second NBA championship. Canada is in desperate need of more doctors, and some medical schools are adopting new approaches to recruiting and training them. As Deanna Sumanic-Johnson explains, they're focusing on the needs of a more diverse patient population.
At this event, high schoolers taking a co-op class get to meet medical school students working in their community, try on their scrubs, look at digital scans of human anatomy.
The title of the course is Equity in the Future of Healthcare, so I wanted to be a part of that. I love talking about equity.
The event is taking place at Toronto Metropolitan University's newly opened medical school in Brampton. The population boom in this city, one of the most diverse in Canada, has also meant that the healthcare needs of its citizens aren't being met. The new medical school could change that.
People have this momentum that they stay where they trained. So wouldn't it be nice if you came to a community, integrated in the community, and then stayed where you trained to be part of that community?
This medical school's founding principle is cultural sensitivity, or awareness that a patient's culture, diet, and community are crucial factors in their health. In British Columbia, Simon Fraser University is also about to open a new medical school focused on serving community-specific needs. One of its goals to cater to Indigenous patients and produce more doctors who are Indigenous.
Some students from underserved communities just don't have the chance to get into medical school and don't even think that they could. And so one of our unique things that we're developing is pathways where we'll go out into the high schools and try to work with students and let them understand what the path might be to becoming either a physician or a healthcare provider.
Back in Brampton, that very thing is why this first-year medical school student is happy to meet Brampton high schoolers.
I think it can be really inspiring to see that someone who looks like you, someone who grew up similar to you, from the same culture or from a similar culture, is able to enter medicine.
As they tackle Canada's doctor shortage, one community, one patient at a time. Deanna Sumanic-Johnson, CBC News, Toronto.
This is the time of year many Canadians hunker down in the sunny south, where despite Donald Trump's aggression and tariffs, a strong Canadian contingent can still be found. Julia Wong traveled to Florida to see how some are navigating the current political climate.
A right on Niagara, a left on Sherbrooke. If it wasn't for these palm trees...
You could be in any town or city in Canada.
But this is the Sunshine State, in a community many snowbirds have called home since the 1970s.
Florida is no stranger to Canadians. It's one of the top destinations for snowbirds. And in this community, the ties are exceptionally close and obvious.
Because Canadians created this park, and it's always been a collaboration between both of us, and that's what makes this park so special.
For years, Canadians and Americans have coexisted here. 40% of homeowners are Canucks, but that special relationship feeling some strain amid threats of tariffs and annexation. The most recent tourism data from Florida shows a 20% drop in Canadian visitors compared to the same time last year. Jeff Papias of Ontario has been coming here for more than 30 years.
It doesn't override the reasons and the rationale of why they're here. They are concerned in watching what's happening because when there is that uncertainty, there is a little discomfort into that.
That tension also seen in other ways and has this Ontario man taking extra precautions.
We've heard stories about people being identified as Canadian and their cars being targeted. So when we cross the border, what we do is take the front license plate off.
Happy Tuesday! Conte will keep wintering in the U.S., but is doing his part to support Canada.
We did come down this year with so many more supplies that we would normally buy here. We'll put the money back in Canada as opposed to the States.
When we bought with the intention of having a lifestyle.
And Murray Knights has been enjoying that here since 2010, even as others boycott the U.S.
To date, we haven't decided to make any change.
Because in a community full of Canadian pride, for these travelers, what Florida offers trumps the politics of the day. Julia Wong, CBC News, Port Charlotte, Florida.
Mark Carney's list of major projects has been a big part of his plan to make Canada's economy less reliant on the U.S.
This will directly help transform our country into an energy superpower.
Why the expansion of a liquefied natural gas project is far from certain. And Ottawa's fast-tracking a multi-billion-dollar port project from Montreal.
That project should have taken place 20, 30 years ago.
Why some say it may be coming too late. The National breaks down the stories shaping our world. Next.
We will build with Canadian steel, Canadian lumber, Canadian aluminum, and by Canadian tradespeople and engineers.
Faced with a changing geopolitical landscape and shifting trade relationships, Ottawa announced the fast-tracking of a dozen major infrastructure projects aimed at streamlining approvals, boosting investment, and strengthening the economy. Topping that list, a major expansion of the country's only liquefied natural gas facility, based in northern BC. But as Lindsay Duncombe found out, even with Ottawa's nod of approval, the big build is far from a sure thing.
Tanker by tanker, Canada is now shipping liquefied natural gas to Asia. The federal government wants to see this site double. Twice the tankers, twice the gas, in the hopes of generating big profit. The expansion of Canada's only LNG terminal is the very first national building project on the Prime Minister's list.
This will directly help transform our country into an energy superpower.
So what will it cost, and what would Canada get out of it? We went to LNG Canada headquarters in Calgary to find out. Teresa Waddington is the Deputy Chief Operating Officer for LNG Canada.
We see an exciting opportunity to build on our early successes from the phase 1 of our project and the benefits it's bringing to British Columbians, to First Nations, to Canadians.
Canadians don't own the terminal. 5 private multinational companies do, led by energy giant Shell. They foot the bill for phase 1, an estimated $40 billion, the largest private sector investment in Canadian history. And it's the companies that will decide if they want to spend big to expand.
What can you tell me about how much it would cost?
Phase 2 won't be as much as phase 1, so it won't be the largest private sector investment in Canadian history, but it will be a substantial investment in that export capacity and in Canada's natural resource sector.
She's not talking numbers, but the federal government's National Projects Office estimates the private companies could invest $33 billion in the project. Now, when you're talking about the cost of a major energy project, it's not just money. There's environmental impact and emissions. Those costs are complicated with natural gas because a lot depends on how the plant operates. I'll break that down in a minute. But first, check out what the expansion would look like. This is the current LNG Canada site. Phase 2 would double the compression facilities, storage, and add a second tanker berth. And here's the thing. This 670-kilometer-long pipeline feeding natural gas to the terminal is already built. That means the chance of protests and court challenges is low.
So the good news is that the pipeline itself is in the ground and ready to go. The doubling will be done through compressor stations that will be added along the pipeline route.
Please join me in thanking the panelists. To get a sense of what Canada would get out of the expansion,
Canada can export west. It can export every direction.
We caught up with the Macdonald-Laurier Institute's Heather Exner-Perot in Washington, D.C. She's here pitching Canadian energy, and she thinks the LNG Canada expansion is a no-brainer.
This is absolutely a net benefit in the billions of dollars.
She's not talking about profits. Remember, this is a private enterprise. The companies get the cash when they sell the gas. The billions she's talking about are in royalties and taxes, specifically to the government of British Columbia.
One of the reasons why BC, I think, has become more supportive of LNG in the past 8 months is because of its fiscal position. It is very true that BC is very rich in natural gas. Liquefying it and getting it to these richer Asian markets is a way for it to get a lot more royalties.
The other big benefit? Jobs. LNG Canada says as many as 4,000 positions will be created in construction and 90 full-time roles once it's up and running. Many of those jobs would go to members of the Haisla Nation. The LNG Canada site is on Haisla traditional territory. More consultation with the nation will happen for Phase 2, but its relationship with the project is largely positive. Here's how Chief Councillor Maureen Nice sees it.
Of course, we need jobs in our community. We need not only jobs that construct these facilities, but we need jobs that are lasting.
So Canada gets tax revenue, royalties, jobs, the companies get profit. Sounds like a strong case to expand. But the thing is, there's still a lot of uncertainty and no guarantee that the investors will make the decision to go ahead.
Well, the market is getting more crowded. We may even have a glut in the next 5-6 years because it's not only Canada that's producing LNG plants.
Werner Atweiler is a professor at UBC's Sauder School of Business. He says the case for Phase 2 depends on predictions of how much LNG Asian countries will need by the time the plant is up and running.
And so if the investors will end up in a profitable position, really depends on the natural gas price they can lock in to long-term contracts. And there is a big if here.
He sees two reasons why it's not a sure thing. One, other countries, including the United States and Australia, are way ahead of Canada on LNG. And second, by the time Phase 2 is ready, those countries may have found a cheaper, greener way to produce energy, specifically buying solar panels mass-produced in China.
And China is moving very, very strongly in this direction. They have invested more than any other country in the last few years into expanding their footprint in renewable energy.
Okay, let's take a minute and go back to the emissions issue. Yes, burning natural gas is cleaner than other fossil fuels, but it's still a fossil fuel. Right now, the LNG Canada plant runs on gas, creating emissions. Phase 2 is permitted to do the same. And if it does, Atweiler says BC and Canada's greenhouse gas emission targets are toast.
How significant do you think that cost is in terms of emissions targets?
Well, it would set us back in Canada, the same way we have seen with the increase of the oil industry in Alberta.
Now, there is a plan to use clean hydroelectricity to power the LNG Canada site, but BC doesn't have enough right now. Electrifying the project, along with new mines and other sites, would mean building more energy infrastructure, costing billions. Who would pay for it? Well, maybe ratepayers. That all makes the case for expansion a little less clear. As for being on Ottawa's list,
will it make a difference if the Prime Minister of Canada says, this is a priority, invest?
I don't think so. I think that is a lot of wishful thinking when politicians stand up of whatever political stripe and say, I'd like to see this project go ahead, but at the end of the day, they're not financing it. They have to leave it to the market conditions and the investors.
So it is, again, there's so many pieces in a decision.
Back in Calgary, though, Teresa Waddington says being on the national projects list is important to LNG Canada's investors.
It means a lot to them to know that there's going to be a stable and welcoming environment for them.
Could that influence the decision of whether or not to go ahead?
It's definitely a factor.
A deciding factor? We don't know. Will there be double the amount of tankers here eventually? Maybe. But ultimately, it's not up to Ottawa. Top of the list or not.
And those investor spirits may be somewhat buoyed by numbers coming out of the U.S. today. Analysts say that country set new LNG export records in 2025, selling more than 100 million metric tons for the first time ever. Coming up, the Liberal government fast-tracks expansion at a Montreal area shipping port, but critics claim they've already missed the boat.
Depending upon where the trend goes, it's going to be increasingly difficult to bring traffic to Montreal.
Why detractors say the ship has sailed on Montreal's anchor role in the supply chain. That's next. As part of Ottawa's Major Projects Initiative, the Contrecoeur port near Montreal is being fast-tracked for expansion. But many say there was a better choice just down the river. Eli Glasner breaks down why detractors claim the government picked the wrong port.
Boxes, boxes, and boxes. From road salt to sugar, medicine to mountain bikes. For much of Ontario and Quebec and other parts of Canada. If it's in a shipping container, it comes through the Port of Montreal.
This, believe it or not, is a small terminal. So this is just one part of the massive port complex, which handles about 1.5 million containers a year.
Hello. In September, Ottawa announced plans to fast-track an expansion to the port as part of the major projects of national interest.
The Government of Canada stands ready to ensure that the remaining approvals are expedited as quickly as possible.
But the Port of Montreal say that they're reaching capacity in just a few years. So, the province of Quebec and the Major Projects Office, the federal government, have a plan to expand another port, Contrecoeur, just down the St. Lawrence River. But is that the best port to pick?
50 kilometers down the river is the project meant to keep Montreal's port thriving, the Contrecoeur terminal expansion. The glossy promotional video touts Contrecoeur's advantages, access to the same rail lines and highways that feed Montreal. Although the land was purchased nearly 40 years ago, the cost for the long-planned expansion has already ballooned to $2.3 billion. With the announcement came protests and two separate lawsuits, one arguing the Major Projects Office is overruling environmental concerns, the other a class action lawsuit from communities along the river worried about erosion from increased shipping traffic. As winter makes an early appearance, work on Contrecoeur has already begun.
Sometimes you can see ships in between those trees.
So the ships go up and down. That's the
Yeah.
St. Lawrence River.
Exactly.
Ellen Reeves grew up here. She lives on the river and is now a spokesperson for the citizens group fighting the expansion.
So all of this forest is going to be
Destroyed.
gone.
It's 13,000 trees. It's a lot.
With an impact assessment report predicting an increase in truck traffic to as much as 1,200 per day, she has serious concerns about her community's future.
It's going to become a huge industrial zone, and it's not going to be the beautiful little town on the St. Lawrence River.
Meanwhile, she says the surrounding area, home to a bird sanctuary and the endangered copper red horsefish, is at risk.
It should be considered like a treasure. It's an exceptional site, and they're going to destroy it for what exactly? The Port of Montreal is not full. We don't know in 5 years where we're going to be. If Trump is gone, all the manufacturers might just go back exporting and importing from the States.
So if you go here is our
Julie Gascon is the CEO for the Montreal Port Authority, responsible for the original port and the Contrecoeur expansion. She's been in the industry for over 3 decades.
I wish all my crane had like Christmas lights on them because for me they're so beautiful. They're part of the fabric of Montreal.
But she says the port will reach capacity by 2030, if not sooner.
You've heard Prime Minister Carney.
Our goal for Canada is to double our non-US exports over the course of the next decade.
If you increase by 6% the cargo that used to go to US that now goes to another destination, this port's full. It's full.
Capacity means congestion. In the shipping business, they talk about the deadly D word, dwell, as in how long that container of mountain bikes or mangoes sits on the dock. And so, the expansion down the river.
You've got Highway 30. You've got the railway that's already there. You've got the power with, of course, Hydro. We secured all the power for the terminal. And you have access to a huge amount of markets.
So how do you determine if this $2.3 billion bet will pay off?
This project...
If you want to talk shipping, Jean-Paul Rodrigue is the guy who wrote the book. Well, books, actually. Talk to me about what you think of this plan to create a new port.
So that project should have taken place 20, 30 years ago. Meanwhile, the position of Montreal became increasingly, you could say, marginalized in terms of the big trade because the ships were getting bigger.
All right, a quick explainer about cargo ships. TEU or TUs is the standard unit of measurement, which represents about an average 20-foot shipping container. According to the Baltic and International Maritime Council, since 2006, ships with a capacity of 12,000 TUs account for 51% of the industry, with orders increasingly going to so-called megaships. What are the sizes of megaships these days?
On the US East Coast, pretty easily 14,000 TU. And Montreal, you talk about 4, 5, 6.
So we're talking about ships that are in common use now, that are double the size of what that Montreal-Quebec seaway can handle. What are the options? We need to physically change the river?
You cannot do that, of course. You cannot dredge the St. Lawrence. There was not an easy, but there was a solution to that, or an alternative, which was the construction of a container terminal facility in the Port of Quebec.
What he's referring to was another port at one time planned for Quebec City called the Laurentia Project, which he says would have made a better major projects candidate.
There was investment committed by one of the largest terminal operators in the world, which was HBH, and the largest Canadian rail line, CN.
In 2021, the federal government vetoed plans for the Quebec City port, mainly due to adverse environmental effects.
When this happened, I see the fate of the container shipping on the Canadian East Coast is now partially jeopardized.
But now an expansion for the Quebec City port, taking advantage of those deep water capabilities, is once again being explored. We asked the Port of Montreal CEO about the Quebec City alternative. So you say 6,500 is about the top of what you can take
right now.
Right now. But the trend in container shipping is much, much bigger.
The trend is
14,000,
absolutely.
12,000, which can't reach this port.
But the ship that comes to a port will be the right size ship for the port and for the business. The 6,500 to 8,500 TUs are the workhorse, right?
She says Montreal and Contrecoeur offer services Quebec City can't compete with.
So then what do you do with your container, Eli? Where do you put them? How do you de-stuff them? The Port of Contrecoeur was selected because of that ability. You need a logistic hub.
But Rodrigue worries that hub won't be able to serve the megaships, a growing part of the industry.
However, there's always an opportunity and a niche for Montreal for these type of services. It's going to have some limitations, and that's why, depending upon where the trend goes, it's going to be increasingly difficult to bring traffic to Montreal.
For Ottawa and the Port of Montreal, the expansion is about strengthening Canada's independence.
Next best option, unfortunately for the Port of Montreal, is the Port of New York. So then if you do that, you lose economic sovereignty.
But as Canada increasingly looks to India and China for trade, the size of their cargo ships could make Montreal and Contrecoeur out of reach.
The Port of Montreal says the Contrecoeur expansion will create about 8,000 construction jobs, and once it's in operation, will lead to $140 million a year in economic spin-offs across Canada. We are counting down the most popular moments of 2025, and tonight's is about a rare sighting in Halifax.
We were just obsessing over this blue shark that came by.
The great white shark that surprised researchers in our moment. This holiday season, The National is bringing you a countdown of the most popular moments from last year. We call it 12 Days of the Moment. Researchers often see certain sharks in the waters around Halifax. What they don't expect are great white sharks. That up close and very surprising encounter makes the final moment of our countdown.
It was a very unique encounter. We're not normally looking for great white sharks in the Halifax waters, and we were just obsessing over this blue shark that came by. And within a split second, I just see a great white shark go through my screen. And we freaked. All the guests got their gear on, and we were in that water so quickly. One of the guests screamed, "Oh, it's coming up, it's coming up." All of a sudden, I just have this great image of the moment where, honestly, the moment where I fell in love with that shark. It was amazing.
This individual was, in the true sense, massive, close to approaching 15 feet long, and just an extraordinary animal. It was pretty much ignoring the bait for the most part, lifting its head out of the water to look what was happening above the water. And it was, those types of encounters are special.
I really want him to be seen the way that he actually was, which is just beautiful, graceful, elegant, and powerful. So powerful.
Well, that is an image and a half. And according to tracking data, these sightings are becoming more common because the Atlantic Ocean is warming up. And we touched base with Neil. He said since that moment, they've had an epic season and have had all kinds of sightings of great white sharks. They've even been able to put a satellite transmitter, mounted one on a fin. So that is going to lead to some pretty interesting information for that team. From all of us at The National, thank you for being with us. I'm Erica Johnson in Vancouver. Take care.